opt out of the 2021 season, no questions asked, if their latest contract was executed before October 1st, 2020.
Why is that the COVID thing or something?
Not sure, but Aaron Rodgers falls into that category and could decide to not play next season. However, the deadline to opt out is Friday, July 2nd. That is this week. And if you don't opt out, you cannot change your mind later if you don't do it by that date. So it's reportedly unlikely that Rodgers would choose to do this because he might not be ready to give up on the entire season in such a short amount of time. But Friday could be the first domino to fall in finding out if he is going to come back next season.
So if he opts out, Friday's the deadline.
Yeah. According to this, contract clause, this.
And when you do that, what does it trigger? What other things?
So it's you remember we had lots of opt-outs last year because of COVID.
So
it's essentially just a year off. You can not play this season. So that's what's happening. But they won't be compensated, but he wouldn't have to forfeit his $11.5 million in signing bonus money that was allocated for the 2021 season if he opts out.
So he could opt out and get 11 of his $30 million.
He would also presumably still receive the payments on his roster bonus, which is $6.8 million that he earned in March.
So now it's up to 17, 18.
Yeah.
So
this option is due to the pandemic.
So Aaron can opt out and get 60% of his money. And if he got Jeopardy, he's almost to 100%. Probably about
Is the Jeopardy thing still happening? Is that still?
It's very. My inside sources tell me it's very much undecided.
Very Hollywood sourcing.
How about that? That's interesting.
I'm saying we've been sort of speculating about where all this is with Rodgers and Green Bay for months now, but now we're getting closer to the season. There's deadlines starting to come up. Training camp is approaching. And, there's starting to be dates where, decisions have to be made or contracts are going to change.
Well, the two numbers you gave out, it's like $19 million.
He's not going to be broke for the year, no. He's not going to receive his normal salary, his normal contract salary for the year. But
he's getting a chunk of it.
There's a lot of different...
Very interesting.
Things that could happen. So LeBron has made the argument before that while Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time, he can't be the greatest athlete of all time because he doesn't play both sides of the ball. Brady responded to that claim on HBO's The Shop and gave a humble response, admitting he knows he can't do it all on the football field.
I'm not a big comparison thing like that.
I agree, yeah.
Because it really just depends what style you like. There's certain things that I certainly cannot do, and I have the awareness to realize, okay, I can't do those things. You can't do everyone else's job. I can't block, tackle, run, catch. Sure as hell can't run. But I can throw the out of the ball, So let me just do that, and let me do that really well,
I like that. That's a good answer. We talk about this on the show all the time. Some people do one thing great. Let them do that one thing great.
Were we just talking about this with Fernando Tatis Jr.? Yes, because there is a mentality, and I think some of this is due to LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron is the outlier who is really great at so many things that we now have this idea really across all sports that you are supposed to be great at everything, when really that was never the reality. And in life, most people are usually only truly great at one thing. Now, they can be good at other things. You can be a great actor and be a good director and, be a good producer or whatever, because this is your business. So you learned how to do these things over the time where you were doing the thing that you were great at. But that's not the standard. You can be the greatest of all time at one specific thing. Now, the football thing is interesting because most people would argue that, football players are better athletes because it's a collision sport. They're dealing with playing through more pain. And it really is a preference thing to his point. And you're not going to compare, Reggie White to Tom Brady. They play different positions.
Right.
They have different skill sets. Maybe Reggie was a better athlete, probably was. But Reggie can't do what Tom does, and Tom can't do what he does. So how do you even really compare?
I contend that basketball players are the best athletes, and here's why. Because it combines, you have to be a great athlete. We don't ask hockey players and baseball players to have to run and jump. We don't ask football players outside of receivers and corners often to jump. Basketball guys got to be in great cardio shape, got to be strong. You got to run, you got to jump with the ball, have to do something in the air with the ball. Also, it's a highly skilled sport. If you don't play basketball for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it shows.
No. I mean, Chris Paul sat home and he came back the next game and you're like, oh, his shot's a little off. It's like golf. You don't pick up the sticks for a while. It's like, man, I can't chip. NFL is different. There are lots of examples in the NFL where somebody did not play high school football until their senior year or not at all, didn't play college football. I mean, Antonio Gates, Hall of Fame tight end, did not play college football. You don't do that in the NBA. There are no, I'm athletic, I'm going to play pro basketball.
Yeah,
it doesn't
my
work.
brother didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school.
You see a lot of that, and they become great players. There are no, I never picked up a basketball until 20.
Well, I also would say with basketball, which people always argue with me about, and it's really, I just think it's kind of silly and make you watch sport, it's a contact sport. So the NFL is a collision sport.
Different.
There are no collisions. But basketball is a contact sport. So on top of all the other things that you just mentioned, you are also body to body with other
all the time
professional athletes at the highest level of their athleticism and physique. Like that also takes something out of you. That's why I think that like boxers and fighters are such incredible athletes, because not only do you have to have an incredible amount of stamina, you're getting hit. Like every time you get hit, that takes something out of you as well, and then you have to return that. So it's a complicated debate of who is the best athlete. But I like that response from Brady either way. So the Bucks beat the Hawks last night to take a 2-1 series lead. A turning point for Atlanta was the injury to Trae Young. He left the game at the end of the third quarter with a right ankle sprain. He took a step back and sort of put his foot down on the ref who was standing on the sidelines.
Ref was in the right spot. Ref was in the right spot.
I would have loved for him to not be there.
Right.
Like maybe a couple inches back, but it's he wasn't planning on Trae Young stepping on him. It's an accident, but it's just really frustrating. He was able to return in the fourth, but only scored 3 more points.
Yeah,
and after the game, he said the ankle was sore and hurting. But it is his plan to play in the game, in Game 4 on Tuesday. He'll have an MRI on his ankle today. He did have 35 points and 4 assists. He only missed a total of 9 games due to injury this year, and 4 of them were due to a left ankle sprain. Not the same one he injured last night, but it was an ankle injury. So hopefully he's 100%. We're all really done with like the injury thing. Like hopefully we can just get through the rest of the playoffs with all the stars healthy and see the series through.
Good stuff, Joy, with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Some updates on